Hello and welcome everybody. Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV here with a new Surveyor model that kind of gives you a little bit of a new take on couples camping. What's actually really interesting about this is they've incorporated one of my favorite bunkhouse living rooms in a non-bunkhouse model with just a really nice rear bathroom, extra tall shower, big XL vent fan that's due for 2025. You folks said you wanted it, so they included the big Fajita Friday fume fight fart fans to the dollar store 4-inch fart fan variety. They also have some awesome storage in that bathroom as well. But this is a brand, I've been saying it all year here. People sleep on Surveyor, and I think that's a mistake. This thing comes in just a smidge over 30 feet. The weight categories come in, I think, reasonably half-ton towable. We've got the Goodyear Endurance radials, good sneakers on the road when you're running that marathon, plus tire pressure monitoring to give you the peace of mind and the insights to know, like, hey, sometimes we got to pull over and change a flat tire in transit. But we've also got things like a true queen bed with some of the best storage in the bedroom that I've seen in a very long time. Surveyor's become very, very good at this. But again, taller ceiling, it's 6'9" tall. It's also carpetless, ventless, and super easy to clean as a result, but also including a central vacuum system with what I like to call the electric dustpan. You can literally just broom everything up. You don't even get out the whole pool cleaner kit with all the hoses. You can literally just sweep it toward the baseboard in the kitchen. It sucks it up. You just dump the thing later and you're done, son. The underbelly's enclosed. It is forced air heated. They also have holding tank heat pads on every one of their holding tanks. So there's a bunch of things like Asdel under the skin, a lot of aluminum framework, 400 watts of solar, prep for a 2,000 watt inverter. They are doing some awesome things here. Now, I haven't closed this model up, so I don't know what the road mode's going to be like to the bathroom. I think you might lose it. I'm not sure. But we will go through this thing and show you the good with the bad and let you decide if it's the right one for you or not. And I'm really curious to hear from you as we go. Where did they nail it and where did they fail it? Whenever I'm in a new model like this, I never quite know where to start. So I actually wanted to begin back here at the back of the RV looking forward. So to give you your bearings, imagine that you just completed your morning constitutional and you're walking out of the camper into the morning. There's the entry door to help give you yet another point of reference as we look around this thing. When I'm in a new RV like this, one of the first things I often like to do is just sit in the theater seat to see what it looks like. I'm in the right-hand seat right now. I like to put you kind of in the driver's seat point of view in my videos so that you really get to see, I think, how a little closer to what it would look like if you actually saw this thing in person. So from the right-hand theater seat, the TV's off a little bit. It's not terrible. And the TV's actually on a little bit of a swing arm. If I shift over to the left-hand theater seat, that's about what it looks like. Now, like a lot of brands, they have that TV mounted up practically toward the ceiling. But thankfully, with the depth of the slide out, it doesn't feel too awful bad. And they did that to give us some campsite window coverage. But I really do like the very social seating situation that we have going on right here. Now, I want to mention right away, like you might notice there's a converter box under one side of the dinette bench. There's actually, looks like your furnace air intake under the other. So it's not going to be storage, nor is there going to be an option for a table and chairs because there's just physical objects stuck under it. I do really like those extra USB plugs right there, though. And you know what? We maybe could argue that in a model like this, do we really need the extra dining bar? Because we already have a dedicated dinette. Why do we also have a dining bar? And I think the idea here is it just gives you individual personal freedoms where you get to use the RV how you want. Because like, let's say you've got a big dog sleeping on the dinette or a grandkid or something like that. Or, drunken Uncle Gary got kicked out. Can't sleep on the couch at Aunt Rita's house anymore, It gives you a second place to sit down and have your coffee in the morning if in case the dinette is occupied. Now, they also dress that up pretty nicely with a window right next to that dining right there. So the campsite window coverage in this is actually not terrible. Our entry door does have a viewing window. It does lack a privacy shade. It's prepped for one. Let me throw another idea at you here. If you've got pets or something like that, nothing says you even have to use these chairs. You could just get rid of them. My recommendation on that, by the way, would be to don't throw them away, just store them somewhere so that when you do eventually swap out of the camper, you're not, it doesn't look like the RV was gutted. It doesn't look like anything's missing. But if you open that space up, that could make a really good spot for what I like to call a little pet palace. You could have a pet bed down there, you know, maybe a cat litter box or something like that. I don't think people realize, like I've started talking about, you know, cat campers in my videos. I don't think the average person out there realizes how many people are cat campers as opposed to just dog campers. Now, I know a couple people that have some birds, some lizards, some things like that, but there is a growing number of kitty cat camping people out there that I don't think a lot of people are aware of necessarily. So it is something that I look at. Plus, I became a cat dad and a dog dad, so now it's just on my radar, you know. By the way, that's a 15,000 BTU air conditioner. If you want to get 50 amp, you want to get second AC, that kind of stuff is available on these. Now, they do a lot of little unsung things that I think you're going to like. Like you might notice, their overhead cabinets are strutted. They have blackout roller shades. They use all pocket-screwed lumber core cabinetry. Their cabinet styles and rails aren't held together by staples in your imagination. You have a choice between a couple different seats right here. We are looking at today the theater seat, but you might notice how it has the cuddle-compliant folding armrest so that if you want the separation, you can have it. If you want to get right next to your partner or whatever, or kind of stretch out sideways on the couch a little bit, kind of curl up under a blanket, you know, I'll do that sometimes. You have that ability, you have that choice and that opportunity there. But you could also get a trifold hide-a-bed. I think, theoretically, if you really wanted to, you could actually get a second dinette in place of the sofa. I can't imagine a large number of people would actually want to do something like that. But in theory, you actually could. However, in practice, I don't expect you're going to see it a lot. Now, I like how they included netting for those big deep pockets in the pantry so that stuff doesn't fall out on the floor every time you travel around. And you may have also caught how this does have a sliding pocket privacy door for the bathroom. Now, the bathroom has some amazing storage. It has absolutely bare minimum countertop space. You got just enough room to set a couple toothbrushes, and then that's it. If you take a look at the left side of the screen, there is, you see me doing my toilet selfie champion routine. I found it very fluffy friendly. I did not have hip, shoulder, elbow room problems. I didn't have anything like that. The butt napkin roller is a decent length away from the toilet, so some folks who don't have go-go gadget arms might want to come up with an alternative solution. The RV is also a little bit taller, as I mentioned a few times when the video began. Instead of a conventional 6'6", 6.5 foot, it's 6'9". And the 3 extra inches make the difference between someone like me who's just over 6 foot, standing in the shower with my head in the skylight, or not in the skylight. And you could see right here how I did not have to put my head in the skylight. And based on your feedback, the overwhelming voice of the people, you spoke and they listened. You said you wanted better bathroom ventilation, and they made it happen, man. Using that fan as a point of reference, I'm actually standing in the shower now, just to kind of help you understand where we are and what we're looking at. Jumping around like the House of Pain a little bit. Over here on the right-hand side, you can see how that is additional hanging closet space, but you have all this tasty enclosed like linen storage, towel storage, toiletries, or whatever on the left. But if they put a cabinet door on the bottom, the toilet would have kind of fought with it a little bit, so they left it open, and I ain't mad at it, because that makes an amazing space for a wastebasket down there. But what's nice is when you close everything up, it just gives you a nice, clean look. I've used the word nice too many times, rapid fire. If you're like, I think you get the idea of what cabinet doors look like, but I hadn't really shown you those. And I figure you're watching a video because you want to see something and not necessarily just hear about it, because this isn't just the AM FM radio. Now, we've kind of looked at the kitchen briefly here, but I wanted to start cracking open everything in more detail so that you could see all the ins and the outs of it right here. One thing I am noticing real quick, though, is they have gone, they use different size ovens and different models, but where they have the opportunity as they're building new floor plans, it looks like they've been really good about incorporating the larger, like 21, 22-inch ovens, as opposed to the more conventional, smaller size 16, 15-inch ovens that you find in a lot of things, if they even have an oven at all. And as we go through, take a look at the cabinet hardware. You might notice how they do a lot of hidden hinge cabinet hardware wherever they can. That's also a 12-volt compressor fridge, by the way, in the 10 cubic foot variety. I really want to make sure I specify the sizing because with more and more brands trying to be more and more budget conscious, there are a lot of brands who are trying to sneakily reinstitute 8 cubic foot 12 volt fridges, which is not bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not actually even unhappy with it, but they're doing it for cost reasons, and they're just conveniently forgetting to mention that in their update files. And I think that's actually a really good example of Surveyor doing what I call function over fashion. They're spending the money that, not they, you, if you purchase this RV, you're spending your money on the features and functions that you're probably going to use all day, every day. It's not just based exclusively on glitz and glitter, because so often in this industry, aesthetic is king. You can build an average level RV, but if you make it look shiny and fancy, people buy it. That's just hard facts, guys. I don't love it, but that's the truth of the matter. Surveyors really, when you get one of these, you're spending your money on the stuff that you're going to use all the time. Now, notice to the right of the stovetop, you got that wooden cutting board there against the wall. Take a look at that, and then take a look at the farm sink right about now. They do something there I really like. They give you a spot to put the sink cover when you're not using it, but it's also a wooden cutting board. It's a food grade cutting board. I would actually like it better if they mounted it beside the refrigerator on the side of the stove that's right next to the fridge, but it also does kind of make sense that it's located closer to the sink. So, I can give them a little bit of credit there as well. Moving forward, take a look at your conventional windows. You might notice how they have an all hardwood trim work around them, which I think is kind of nice. When we get here in the bedroom, man, they have put a lot of power outlets into this thing. On the front side of this, you've got some household and USBs. When you get behind the hanging wardrobe towers, you'll see that you actually have additional power outlets back there in what I like to call headboard power pockets. The taller nature of the ceiling in this means that you've got awesome headroom above you in the bed. So if you like to sit up and read a book or something, you have the space to do it. And the bedroom storage in this is symmetrical. So I've only got half of it open, but look at the space and the storage that we have in here. They really utilize every little nook and cranny, and they give us so many dresser drawers. There's so many RVs that you'll hear me say stuff like, oh, well, if you want to bring totes along with you, you could do that. But you don't have to bring totes with you in a camper like this. It's just everything is already where you need it when you need it, This is also a 60 by 80 true queen bed. Now, the factory mattress, my opinion, is nothing to write home about. Opinions may vary. Experiences may vary. For my money, I would absolutely be replacing that mattress. But because it's a residential true queen size, it's extremely easy to do that. You don't have to go, get a engineering degree from Harvard or anything to make that happen. And thankfully, with a pair of gas struts, this is a very easy to lift bed. You might notice how, they're using plywood decking. This is another little thing to kind of look for from an RV manufacturer. Do they add a little reinforcement thing so you have bigger screws with more to bite into for those struts? That's something that I've really started looking for when a manufacturer does those little 2-cent extra. I bet it doesn't even cost them anything. I bet because they, they probably have a little bit of scrap plywood that all they have to do is just kind of reshape it real quick. I bet it does just fine for them. Now, what I'm wondering about on this one is what the road mode function is going to boil down to with this kind of layout, but I haven't actually closed it up yet, and I'm not really sure. Guys, gals, this is awesome. I did not expect this, so I'm going to back up. You can see that obviously with the entry door being next to the bedroom, yes, we can get to the bedroom very easily. And if you're looking at this, you've got 2 different dining stations, not in a rack and pinion slide, that are very easy to access. We can get to the sink, we can get to the stove, we can get to the refrigerator, and you can get to the bathroom. Now, it's a little tight right here, but with the slide closed, you can frankly very easily navigate. You can get to the converter panel, the toilet, the shower. This has, I'm going to call it A- to just a straight A travel access. This was way better than I expected. So if you appreciate taking the extra time to open everything up, do the road mode stuff, hit that subscribe button, leave me a note, so thanks, nerd, or whatever. Also, just to give you a size reference, I'm a little bit over 6 foot, wearing thick-soled shoes and absolutely no hair today. Just got it buzzed off last night. That's the ceiling height above me. It is very comfortable in here. A 6'9" or bigger ceiling is actually something I consider nerd preferred that I like to find in an RV I would use personally. For me, it's not a deal breaker, but man, I definitely like it. Over the years, I've noticed that the weights of the actual units that we're looking at can vary from the generic brochure weights and measures that you're looking at on screen right now. For instance, this RV scaled out at 6,230 pounds. So maybe that varies a little bit from what you're seeing on screen, but I want to give you both the book learning version as well as the practical application, and we go from there. Let's talk a little bit of construction while we're talking about that stuff. They use a lot of aluminum framework on these, in the walls, in the floor. The roof is stick built, but it's fully walkable. It is ladder prepped on the back, as we'll see when we get there. Directly below the fiberglass skin on the walls, we do have Asdel composite substrate, and then all the little details here, like the slam latches, the magnet holdbacks, those easy user convenience function features. They are really good at including those. Now, you might notice the baggage door on the other side's a little bit smaller because we got some kind of boxy job construction in the way. That's actually where your tankless on-demand water heater is located. As I recall, they only run 60,000 BTU tankless water heaters on these, as compared to some brands running the 40 to 42,000 variety, and that makes a difference. Now, under the belly, you can't see anything because it's nicely enclosed. If that was peeled away, you would see a big layer of their radiant foil barrier material, adding some extra efficiency to the whole system. You would also see how there is forced air heat ducting in the underbelly, and you would also see how each holding tank has its own little heat pad included right on it. So the thing is, Surveyor doesn't make these lofty, overinflated, we are the most Arctic-rated camper ever, brother. Apparently they turned into Hulk Hogan at some point. I don't even know. But they do the same things as the brands that make those claims. So, I'm going to call it a very respectable extended season. Now, they also make it very clear some of the cool stuff that they have on their RV right here. And thankfully, if you don't like all the stickers, they are pretty easy to peel. But they're giving you some really good information on this. Like it indicates, that we have Asdel, we have tire pressure monitoring for these Goodyear Endurance radials. They also are currently rocking 400 watts of factory solar with prep for a 2,000 watt inverter. Now, they're also not making claims that they're the ultimate boondock camper, brother, but they do some of the critical things. So for a casual weekender who camps maybe off pavement, if we want to describe it that way, this thing's not bad. It's kind of set up for that. Now you got the little hot, cold outside utility shower there. We got our handy griddle station over here, and you see the white flag hanging down below the skirt line. That's where your gas grill quick connect propane cooker hooker is going to be located. And did you notice the size of that awning? That's another thing they don't get credit for. This is a brand that I don't think gets, there's a reason I've been recording so many of these. I personally like what I see. I think they do some really good things. Every RV has different advantages. Every RV has different drawbacks. But I've never heard somebody complain that their RV had too much awning space. Well, Surveyor's trying to give you more, and I think that's pretty awesome. Right next to the spare tire, there's also a 2-inch receiver hitch back there. So if you want to slap a bike rack on the back of this sucker, you can do that pretty easily. The windows are nicely tinted to keep the nosy neighbors out of this thing. What I'm not sure about is the plumbing situation. I do like this handy little light. It's actually motion activated, so you can see what you're doing when you get over here. Although I wonder if the neighbors walking around would set that off. Although if they're outside and that little bitty light goes off, I don't think it's really going to offend anybody, but it does. No, okay. So this is our bathroom, black and gray. Up in front of the tires, there's a gray outlet dedicated just to the kitchen gray tank. So I'm going to estimate this RV actually has 2 gray tanks. They also put a piece of protected trim right here so that water running down the sidewall hits this trim and it drips before it wicks its way into the slide-out floor. And not every brand does that. It's those little details that I look for, and I say, okay, these are things, like a decent cargo capacity. These are things where the RV's less likely to experience structural stress, which can relate to you know, major downages, basically. The which is different from a Robert Downage Jr. I don't know. I'll work that out in my own time, my open mic night routine. The you might notice too that the stovetop does have an actual exhaust vent hood. Now, as we wrap our way around here to the tongue and pretty much complete our whole adventure together with one another, I do want to point out a couple things that are up here. I see this question, I mean, literally almost daily on like Facebook user forums and stuff like that. What's the yellow thing? That's your repeater for your tire pressure monitoring system, so that the signal from the tire caps get up to the tire pressure monitor in the vehicle, so that you can see what your tire pressure is while you're rolling down the highway on your Clark W. Griswold family vacation. Like I said, it's a little bit of a half twist on the common couples camper. And I'm really curious to know what you think about this thing. So I'm going to leave you some links in the description because I think pricing helps factor into that. And if we have one of these in stock, we'll have a link to our website with the unit in stock, clearly displayed with MSRP, discounted sale pricing, all that. If we happen to be sold out, contact our team and we can get you figures on one of these. But I'll also leave you links to some similar size floor plans from a bunch of different brands. The 30-foot couples camper with a super slide. I'll dig up a couple of those and let me know kind of which one you'd prefer to go with and why. Are they onto something here with this little new twist on the concept, or are they missing it? I don't know. Leave me a note. You let me know. Because at the end of the day, I think it's your opinion that matters most, not mine. I'm just here to try to give you some ideas. So when you're ready, we're ready. But until then, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.